Professor, good afternoon. The purpose of this presentation reflect on how the class has shaped my perspective and has caused me to reflect on my personal life through my own personal lens. Throughout the class, our readings have explored themes, many themes. For the purpose of this final, I would like to focus on the two major ones that I have pulled out of our readings. One is adjustment, and one is isolation. In all of our readings, isolation and adjustment were important, leitmotifs, if you will. In both Gray Bees and We Need New Names, the themes of isolation and adjustment and identity were key to understand the characters. Each story shows how people cope with loneliness while trying to find their sense of self in a difficult situation. The characters face struggles not only within themselves, but also in the new society that they live in. From a personal perspective, my mother and my father both experienced a deep sense of isolation, adjustment um, in the way they experienced life. My mother, as a 12-year-old German child, saw the end of Nazi Germany and experienced a much different world than she grew up in. Her experience of isolation and adjustment after she married my father and immigrated to America, I witnessed as a young child and throughout my adult life. But it really, I think, took this class to make me understand and not necessarily understand, but certainly appreciate and recognize the hardships that my mother as an immigrant and my father faced. This profound sense of isolation that we've seen in many of our characters, Darling as an example, uh, mirrored my mother's sense of change, adjustment, and loss. When my father returned from Vietnam, I also saw that in him. But once again, I really didn't understand it until I took this class from you. His isolation, adjustment, and loss were made even more difficult by the anti war, anti military attitude that existed in America in the late 60s. His profound sense of loss, seeing his friends killed in action and lack of recognition for their sacrifice, I think created a greater sense of despair and guilt, which lingered for many years. Our characters, in many ways, demonstrated the same emotional wasteland. I obviously took that from T.S. Eliot, experienced by our characters, an experience I felt deeply when I returned from Iraq and Afghanistan. As you're probably well aware, T.S. Eliot is my favorite uh, 20th century poet. And he often explores the theme of isolation, showing how loneliness can deeply affect people in a negative way. Through his poems, I think Eliot dives into the emotional, social, and existential aspects of being alone, very much like every book you made us read. I was struck by the profound meaning in each one of the books you made us read, and how, as you saw in my paper, how their experience really hasn't changed that much over the decades. In Eliot's poem, The Hollow Men, he emphasized this existential loneliness. The poem features characters that are not truly alive, very much like the characters in the books you made us read. And we talked about this in class, how modern society is creating a greater wasteland. Modern society is creating greater isolation because we're no longer interacting as humans; we're interacting with machines. And I think that Eliot's repeated phrase, "the hollow men," I think stresses this emptiness. In conclusion, I just want to say that. Um, in our class readings, almost every character experiences this great sense of isolation, adjustments, and loneliness. And I think that all the books capture the emotional pain that all of us, but mostly immigrants, go through when they leave family and friends and try to adjust in a completely foreign and new way of life. And in closing, Professor, this experience has really helped me understand that the experience of the immigrants much better. But I think it's also helped me personally recognize the challenges that my parents went through. And you're well aware, Professor, that in those days, you didn't go see somebody. You pushed those emotions down and you dealt with it the best you could. And so I want to thank you for exposing me to literature that I would have never read, but more importantly, exposing me to um, the experiences I had with my parents, but I really just could not understand them until I took your class. So I want to thank you for that. Professor, I look forward to seeing you in the fall and enjoy your summer break. Thank you.